All right. This next thing is called this next process is what they call an alignment process. Okay. The theory is there's basically 7 logical levels of thinking, 7 logical ways that we organize information, and this is the way it goes. You have your environment. You have your behaviors in your environment. You have your capabilities, or how you do those behaviors in that environment. You have your beliefs and values, which affect your capabilities of how you do it, your behaviors in that environment. Okay. You have your identity, which is basically how your identity affects your beliefs and values, which affect your capabilities, which affect your behaviors, which affect your environment. Then you have your mission statement, your spiritual self, and how that affects your identity, which affects your beliefs and values, which affects your capabilities, which affects your behaviors, which affects your environment. Now, the way this works is logical levels are basically a way of organizing information. Now, a lot of ways and a lot of times people are stuck on a certain level or they're not aligned. Figure it like it's like railroad trains, okay? If you have 6 that are going this way and 1 that's not aligned, it's going the opposite way, you're not going to get that full push, that full power, okay? So if you're not aligned on a certain level, you're not going to get the full oomph. So by walking through this process, what it does is it aligns you. It takes a specific state of mind or an area that you want to excel in, and what it does is it takes you and aligns you not only for the behaviors, the capabilities, the beliefs, the values, the identity, the mission statement, all the way down. It just completely takes it and makes you straight and powerful so that you're that much more aligned with what it is that you want. So the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to do a little exercise with Franco. So why don't we have Franco come on up when he's ready, but I also want to expand a little bit more because what I'm going to be asking you is to take your peak state, okay? I'm going to ask you, the first question I ask you is when and where do you want this behavior? So when you think about the behavior, this is a place that you want that's going to be positive. So if the behavior is, I want to be in this situation where I walk up to women and I feel confident, that's what you're going to work with, okay? It's a peak state. So that when I ask you, I say, when and where do you want this peak state? So what we're doing is you want to create a peak state, something that you want for yourself. So what I want you to do is come on up. We're going to work on another level. This to me, when this happened, when I first did this, I had to sit down for 5 minutes because I learned the ramifications of what it's like to be aligned on a spiritual level. Okay, it was very powerful for me, and I sat down, I was like, wow, that's really, really powerful. And then it gets worked into your neurology. So what I need from you is to come up with a peak state. So the first question I'm going to ask you to align yourself is when and where do you want a peak state? The peak state might be, I want to approach women with confidence. I want to be confident when I'm talking. I want to be fluid when I'm talking. I want to have a certain amount of creativity when I'm doing something. So what I'm going to say is pick a peak state that you want for yourself.
Okay. All right.
Okay, what is it?
On first approach, in any context, just to be fluid and to be fluid, uninhibited, positive, kind of what we discussed earlier. That kind of free, uninhibited state on approach in that context.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's perfect. They can differ greatly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you face this direction.
Okay.
So make sure you have enough room.
All right.
Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a series of questions. Okay. These questions pop into your mind pretty quickly. So if you want to run them through your own head while you're out there listening, do it. Or if you want to stand up, they pretty much happen real quick. They pop in and you're like, okay, I got it. That's the information. All you're going for is that certain information. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you just in a moment to just go ahead and close your eyes.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask you to ask yourself this question. Mm-hmm. When and where do you want this specific peak state? Perhaps it could be like in a bar. Mm-hmm. And when you want it, when you make that decision to do it. So just think to yourself, when and where do you want this peak state?
Okay. Do I tell you?
No, when you have it, just go ahead and nod your head. So think to yourself, when and where do you want this peak state? And when you have that, just go ahead and nod your head.
Okay.
Perfect. Now I want you to leave that hologram image of yourself, I want you to take a step backwards.
Okay.
So as you're looking forward, you can see that person in that environment.
Okay.
Okay, close your eyes. And I want you to ask yourself this question.
Mm-hmm.
What behaviors do you need to do in order to have that peak state in that environment? So what will you be doing to have this peak state in that environment?
Okay.
Got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Take a hologram image here, take a step back
All right.
into your capabilities. So you see those behaviors, you see that environment. I want you to ask yourself this question. What capabilities do you need in order to support those behaviors in that environment? So what will you be doing inside your mind? What will you be thinking? How will you be doing those behaviors in that environment?
How will I be doing them, or
Either how will you be doing them, or what capabilities
what capabilities would I need to be able to do those?
to do those behaviors in that environment?
Got it. Okay. Okay, I've got the
Okay.
capability.
Okay. So what I want you to do is leave a hologram image here, take a
Okay.
step back.
Okay.
Okay? Now I want you to think to yourself, what beliefs and values do you need in order to support those capabilities, in order to support those behaviors in that environment?
Okay.
So what beliefs do you need in order to support those capabilities to do those behaviors in that environment?
Do you want me to tell you, or do you
Just nod your head when you have
Okay.
them. So what beliefs do you need to have now in order to support those capabilities to do those behaviors in that environment?
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
Good. Leave a hologram image of yourself, take a step back. Now, who are you who has those beliefs and values, who does those capabilities, who has those behaviors in that environment?
Who am I?
Who are you?
Is this a question I should answer, or
Just think to
to
yourself.
myself? Okay.
If you want to say it out loud, that's cool too.
I guess I'm an ideal me.
Perfect. You got it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now think of a symbol that represents the ideal you.
I got that.
Good. Now I want you to leave this ideal self with this identity right here, and I want you to take a step back
Okay.
into your spiritual.
All right.
Now, who are you? Who are you that has that identity, that has those beliefs and values, that does those capabilities, has those behaviors in that environment? Who are you?
That's sort of drawn up a blank. It's hard to answer.
Then who else do you affect in the larger picture of having all this?
Well, I guess everyone I come in contact with.
So who are you that has that identity, that has those beliefs and values, that has those capabilities, that does those behaviors in that environment?
Okay, I've got an answer.
Got it?
Mm-hmm.
You feeling good about it?
Yeah.
See how it affects everyone else around you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And how that affects everyone else that's around them?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Now I want you to take this knowledge, this
Okay.
wisdom, and I want you just to take a step forward back into your identity, taking with you the knowledge and the wisdom, and notice how perhaps it may transform and enrich that identity just a little bit, adding a little bit more resource. And notice how that symbol may change just a little bit to represent more of this knowledge and wisdom. So only as fast as you're ready, take a step forward into that. Bringing with you this knowledge and wisdom.
Okay.
Just allow that to integrate within your identity.
Okay.
And notice, does that symbol perhaps change a little bit to become a little bit more resourceful?
Okay, I've got it. Yeah.
So as you allow that to merge inside yourself, taking with you the knowledge and the wisdom from the vision, stepping into your identity with more resources, more wisdom, take that knowledge and the wisdom of the vision, the knowledge and the wisdom of this identity, take a step back into your beliefs and values, and notice how that may transform and enrich those beliefs and values a little bit more powerfully now.
Okay.
You got that?
Mm-hmm.
And I want to take the knowledge of the vision, the increased identity, the increased knowledge and wisdom of these beliefs and values, and I want you to take a step back into your capabilities.
Okay.
And notice how it transforms and enriches the way that you do those. And how you do those.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Take the knowledge and wisdom of the vision, the identity, the beliefs and values,
Mm-hmm.
the capabilities, step back in your behaviors and notice how perhaps it transforms and enriches those behaviors and the way you do those behaviors even more now.
Okay.
Now taking with you the knowledge and the wisdom of the vision, the identity, the beliefs and values, the capabilities, these new behaviors, step back into that environment and notice how it transforms and enriches that now. Perfect. Can you really feel that?
Yeah.
Good. Now I want you to imagine taking all this knowledge and the wisdom with you at a specific time in the future. And notice those situations, how you begin to think things differently as you bring these resources forward with you into the future, adding more choices, allowing yourself to think things differently already. And then I want you to imagine going even further into the future, bringing with you all these resources, this knowledge, this wisdom that allow you to move even further into the future with more choices, changes, that can allow you to see things differently so that you become the you you've always wanted to be now, in the future, looking back, having noticed how many more changes you've made and new thoughts and new resources you've had installed in you here tonight. Just allow yourself to float back to here. Now my voice.
Mm-hmm.
And I want you to just imagine going backwards in time as far as you can remember yourself.
Okay.
All the way back before. Now. Before now.
Mm-hmm.
Moving forward in time, having had these resources all the way in your past, and notice how it can already transform and enrich the way you used to be. Bringing new resources to those situations in the past that may have hindered you in the past. But now noticing with these resources as you move forward into those realms, it brings with you new choices and new perceptions, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And just go forward all the way to those situations, bringing new resources and noticing now as you walk through those situations or you move through them in the way that you can with these resources and these changes, these new ways of looking at the world, how just moving through the past just adds more resources. And go through any situation that you need to go through to allow yourself to make the changes necessary to come back to this point in time and only open your eyes as fast as you realize that things have already changed inside. Don't open your eyes any quicker than change has happened. Or keep them closed as long as change continues to happen. Whichever comes first. And notice how things perhaps may seem just a little bit different.
Back.
Okay. So, how things seem different when you were out there?
All right. At what phase?
Out there in the, let's go all the way to the vision phase. Vision phase. When you were out there, did it bring about a new awareness, like how this situation, by aligning yourself up, transforms and enriches a lot of things?
Yeah. Initially, the initial thing was a specific event that recurs, right? specific context. And every time that I went back, the context seemed less, it was a stressful context, it seemed less stressful. And then when I came back, it sort of brought this warmth and energy through all these other things, and it sort of dissolved. So when I came back, I brought back this thing with me. It was like I don't know, the only way I could describe it is like sun rays. They're coming out, warmth.
Kind of radiating.
Yeah.
A little bit of an aura
Yeah.
pounding through. Okay, so now when you think about those situations in the past when you were younger, when you think about them now, do they seem a little bit different?
Yeah, that was one of the more interesting parts. I went through just the strangest memories popped up, memories that I didn't think affected me or whatever, but they're the ones that came up, and it kind of changed the way that I felt about them. I think I became a little bit more. My perspective on them is a little bit more compassionate, I guess, for the people involved.
Than yourself, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You know, and the nice thing about this is, remember, we filter reality through our neurology, and which encompasses our beliefs and the history. So when we can go back and we can change the actual history, the way it's encoded in our mind, and add more choices through those changes that we've made in the past, it changes the whole way our neurology filters the information. Because now it's called change personal history is what they call it. We just went back there and we went through certain situations that were encoded a certain way, and we just added a little bit of resources through them, which may have transformed the meaning. You know, so that now as you're here, you're filtering information, and we're all gathering stimulus, and we're all gathering information through our senses. It adds more choices, which will, in fact, as you do it more and more, and you add more choices to, it's going to be different. So, just wanted to show you that on the side. Maybe a little complex, but short and sweet, and it can be powerful depending on what visions you have. But it's something else you can walk back. Just taking those 7 logical levels of thought, which is just a model. It's not reality. It's just a model, but it's a useful one to align yourself on all those different levels. You know, environment, behaviors, capabilities, beliefs, values, identity, mission. Take it all. Take your mission back into your identity, back into your beliefs and values, back into your capabilities, back into your behaviors, and it transforms your environment.
Actually feeling a little disoriented.
You should. You know?
Mm.
And, you know, go from there, because you should. I mean, it shifts things up. We've just stirred that, that sauce on the bottom. It's going to be cloudy. That's what happens. I mean, we've gone for a long time. We've gone for, a long time, you know? And you've learned a lot of things, and there's been a lot of information. You should feel a little bit like that. So that's just normal.
Okay.
So go from there. It was cool.
Well, thank you.
Cool working with you, and
It was my pleasure.
I hope that, and I expect that, or if you don't change, other changes will happen. You know, so take that in. You know,
You like that, huh?
huh?
You like that, I
Yeah, I
think.
like it because it means there's one less guy out there and trying to get the women that I like. Takes a man right out of the loop. You know, increases my odds, my ratio.
Good camouflage.
A good camouflage, you know. You know, or you can go for that sweet sensitive side.
Yeah.
You know, it all works. So, good luck with your movie, your changes, and your quote life.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, man.
Appreciate it.
Enjoy. Cool.